Well, welcome back to the Success Blueprint podcast. I am excited to introduce one of my very best friends, a great mentor, somebody who really has been there for Jason and I whenever we've needed him. And I am excited to introduce to you my friend Kevin Kaufman, who is zooming in from Arizona. So what's up, Kevin?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Good. So Kevin, we've known each other for a while, but we've been into EXP for what now? 6 years?
6 years, yeah.
So six years. So
Dang.
that's when you kind of got your paws on us and helped us see the light. But really, I do mean it, and I appreciate everything that you've done for us. You've been a huge mentor. You've been there for when we've needed help and advice, and we've needed mentorship. And I mean, you've always been able to pair us with somebody, and that's what Jason always talks about is the value of that. But tell us a little bit about, so before we came on, you said you got in the business in 2007. Maybe just tell us a little bit of your life, of how it started and how it's changed, the last 18 years.
Yeah, so I got licensed in 2007 at a time, here in Arizona in the Phoenix metro area. The world was like imploding,
Yeah.
Real estate was
Yeah.
for sure imploding. I had friends like telling me like, don't get in. No, don't get into real estate. Don't quit your job. What are you doing? Like, it's too late. And, probably not too dissimilar from you. I took that as a sign of that. Like, I'm on the right track. I'm pretty much always going to do the opposite of what everybody tells me to do. It's just kind of been my calling card since I can remember. But, so I get into real estate and I don't know anything. Like, I actually got into real estate because I had a mentor who I looked up to, and he was a very seasoned real estate investor, and he had convinced me, like, hey, dude, you can't quit your job and just become an investor. Like, you're going to work for at least 5 more years while you build this up. And so, like, my tiny little, pea-sized brain was like, well, if I'm going to work, I should just go work in real estate, right? Like, that was the whole reason I got a license. And here's what I found out very quickly. Luckily, first of all, my third transaction ever was a short sale. So
Wow.
I was like able to start getting kicked in the teeth right away, which was fun. But what I found is I do love real estate. Don't get me wrong. There's so many things about residential resale real estate that I love. And what I actually figured out pretty quickly was that I love the business of it more than I liked being a practitioner of it. And so that developed a love and a desire for business and not just being in sales. And so, 2007 comes, 2008 rolls around. My business partner, Fred, who he and I start working together officially February of 2008.
Wow.
And, here we are, whatever that is. I'm just shy of 20 years into it. I'm still trying to figure things out for sure. Our business has changed so many times over the years. We've had model changes, ups, downs, wins, losses. And luckily, every time we go through like a big shakeup or things get hard, we always come out of it a little bit better off than we were before. And so that's been a common theme.
What do you think helps you get through those hard times?
Being stubborn, for one, helps a lot. A lot of people like to use the word grit, and I get that. For me, that's one of the most overused words because I think grit is situational. I think we can have grit. We have a lot more, as an example, you guys are both fathers. If it came to protecting your kids, your level of grit and unwillingness to give up is way higher than, say, like your level of grit, like if you wanted to become a professional pickleball player, right? Like there are situations. And so I guess you could say grit on some ways, stubbornness. I like to win, some competitive. I like to figure things out. I'm a fairly curious person. And so like kind of figuring things out and how they work is interesting to me. And so sometimes like I'll stick at something Like I'm okay losing. I'm okay like failing and looking stupid, quite honestly, which is really good for me considering how many stupid things I do.
Well, that's unlike most people, though. Most people are so afraid of that, right?
They
I mean,
are.
the willingness to
so,
fail
like,
is huge.
it is. And so I'm willing to just like figure it out.
I love
awesome. So you and Kevin have been, or you and Fred, excuse me, have been together for almost like 17 years then?
Yeah.
Wow. It's a long time. So what have you attributed to that? Obviously, we've been partners for about, a little over 6 years. And I think similarly, probably people told you when you guys first partnered up, you guys are very different people, right? Have very different strengths in that. So what have you attributed? Because obviously you've been very successful. You're still friends. And what have you attributed to that? Like what have you done differently that where so many partnerships fail?
I think that, if he were here, he would joke that it's because he likes my wife and children way more than he likes me. So he continues to put up with me. And there's certainly some truth in that. Here's the thing, Jason. I think that we've done some things right. I think we've been really smart about the way we've approached our partnership, and I'll share some of those things. And I also think we've been really lucky. We're really lucky in the sense that, like when we started working together, we were both like in a really terrible position financially. We were both newly, my wife and I had just gotten married. Him and his wife had also been married for like maybe 3 months longer than us. Like,
wow.
So very similar like life stages too, I think helped a lot. Again, this is part of the dumb luck part. And then most importantly, we've been able to maintain a similar, not always exact, but a very similar like North Star and direction we wanted to go. And then some of the things that we did that were smart and not just lucky were that we talked about things ahead of time before they ever became a problem, like, money. In fact, something that people don't know is even though we're business partners, we didn't share money 50-50 for like 3 years. We worked together for 3 years before we shared money all the way. Now, what we did do though is like we had this agreement when we first started working together. It was basically let's just try to help each other type of situation. And here's what I'll do is we'll incentivize the other person for helping close deals. But we'll split all of the costs that we incur 50-50. But like, if it's like my listing, I'm going to take 85% of the income. You can have 15% of it. So there was like incentive to help the other person, but also neither one of us could live off the other person. And so it kept us, number one, it kept us honest. And it also kept this like competitive spirit between the two of us. Cause we always like to, like, even now it's like, who can bring in the most referrals for the team? We still do that, even though it's 50-50. And what happened is we just over a 3-year period, we just brought that in. It was like 80-20, 75-25, 70-30. And we finally just made it 50-50 because we realized it was causing more work for our staff than they really needed just because we're competitive. And so we finally went to 50-50 about 3 years in.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
So the size of your team, I imagine that you've grown a large size team before, right? And then I remember that it kind of went down. So kind of walk us through that. So what's the biggest your team has ever gotten with agent count? What was that like for you? Were you happy? Was the business healthy? And then when it shrank, it went down in numbers. Maybe talk us, through that, and let's just talk business for a little bit. And then let's say where your goals are now of what that's going.
Yeah. The largest our team had ever been at, really by any measurement was, understand like our model is like that of a real estate brokerage, meaning it's a numbers based model. There was like 102 names on the roster. Okay.
Wow.
That doesn't mean we had 102 people selling real estate. Believe me. Like there's plenty of people that never, got off the ground, plenty of people that walked in the door and we helped them walk right back out. But there at one point, there was over 100 people on the roster. Um, and here's the deal, like that was one of the best times because we're making the most money. Like we're making a lot of money. The reality is when we set up our business model financially as well to be able to make money that way. Even I have a mentor, you guys know him, and he's a really close friend. And one of the things he taught me early on that I really took to heart was like, Kevin, if you want to hire Navy SEALs, that means you've also got to hire the Navy, which I took to mean I've got to hire a lot of people and then let the cream rise to the top. And so my method, my theory on how I surround myself with a lot of amazing agents is by just hiring a lot of agents.
Yeah.
I don't do the prediction thing. I don't think it's possible to predict who's going to be successful or not. So when I'm hiring people to work on my team as a salesperson, of course, I'm basically screening for desire that, like, do they have the desire? Like, do they even have something they're after? And then like, are they a good person? Yeah. And if they have those two things and a real estate license, like I'm willing to give them a shot, at least to try out and see where it goes.
Yeah. So take me down that path then. So how long does that go before you're starting to, is that something 2 weeks in, or is it 3 months or is it 6 months before you really know if that's going to work out for that person or not?
I think if you're engaged and being honest with yourself, within a couple weeks.
Okay.
Because they're either showing up and doing the things that they said they would and that you've assigned them to do, or they're not. And so I just believe people when they show me who they are.
Makes sense.
I like that.
But I will say that was a challenge for me because I am the type of person who, like, I see the potential in people. I see how good people could be. And so I had to get over that and actually see who they really were. Like, how are they actually showing up? And so that was a business lesson for me that it took me a little while to learn, that I had to follow the evidence and not the potential that I saw in a particular person.
That's hard. I think that's one of your biggest qualities too, though, is that you see the potential in people, and that's why you're always helping other people, is wanting people to hit that.
And I love, don't get me wrong, I love doing that. I had to become aware of how that was actually hurting me in my business. And truthfully, it was hurting those people too. So like the people I'd hire that I was like really high on, I thought they were going to be amazing. And then they weren't doing the things they said. Like, truthfully, it's because they just weren't a fit. And one thing I learned is, like, when people aren't a good fit, it's not just the business that suffers. It's also the human being involved, whether they realize it or not.
Yeah.
So was that a leadership that you learned, like you just said, that you over time, or was that like, what's the standard, or what is that you started picking up on your team and enforcing, or
like the standards and like activities that we ask people to do, those have changed and evolved over the years many times. And so it was really just like, what were those standards in the moment, right? And usually the basic one is like being at the office by a certain time, because we have, say, a huddle or scripts practice then a huddle, something like that. And then it's like, are they doing the things that we're teaching them to do? Are they completing the training? And then are they actually taking the actions and activities? And again, like I said, it actually, if you're being honest with yourself, it doesn't take long to give yourself the true answer.
I think that's true. I think we've seen that too, and then it just hurts. It just takes away your time. It distracts other team members, everything like that, the longer that they end up staying, right?
It really does. In fact, the longer they stay, the more pain it causes and the more expensive it is.
True. Dang. Yeah, I like that. So right now, where are you at then? So you had up to 100, and then over the last few years, I know things have changed a little bit.
Yeah.
So where's 4610 at now?
So a lot of that we made part of it was a change we made purposely. We were at another brokerage that we had been at for a long time, and we were leaving. We were going to leave that brokerage. We were actually going to go start an independent brokerage is what our plan was. And so what we had to do is we had to really evaluate, because our business spanned multiple states. There's some complexity there. And we had to take a good hard look at ourselves and go, there's some people here, there's some locations effectively that are not productive at all. And there's some other ones that are productive and even profitable, but like not actually worth the headache. And so we cut a ton of people. Like one day, I think technically it wasn't one day. I think it was like, and within a week, we had cut like 30 people in two full locations, and then cut another location, shortly after that, and then another one after that. And so that would have been early 2018. And then in 2018, we made a big change. We decided not to open an independent brokerage after all, and we joined a new brokerage called EXP Realty. And we lost a few people in the transition, but nothing major. Our core was intact. Where we started to really lose people and then have to change our focus was in Phoenix. Everything was great because that's where we're at, and so we had a better connection with the people here. In the locations where we weren't the leader, those were not as strong, and so. As what we did is as we sort of like lost people, we would make just decisions to like close stuff down and then just focus on Arizona. And a couple of years ago, with the move to EXP became a whole new business opportunity for us. And so I was able to take my focus off of the core business of the real estate sales and kind of focus on this new business. And Fred was able to maintain the real estate team. And by this time, we'd really like built up a lot of agents that had been with us for a number of years. I started hiring more people again this year. So if you go back to like the beginning of this year, the average tenure on my team was probably like 7-8 years, literally, which is I'm not talking about a couple people. I'm talking about like 10, 12 people. Yeah. In fact, Ben Kenny was with me at breakfast with the team last summer, and he had never met any of them. And so everybody went around and introduced. And one of the things he asked them to say was like, how long have you been with the team? And Ben looked at me and he's like, I'm blown away. I actually can't believe the length of time, how so many of these people have been with you. And with that, the advantage that gave us was there was a lot of people that sold a lot of real estate that didn't need me and Fred. It was almost like there was a couple year run where it was like Fred and I were just like, hey, like, do you want to go to lunch or hang out or something? Like they just didn't. It's kind of like your kid gets, I would imagine what it's like when they get to be 18 or 19 years old and you're like, hey, you want to hang out? And they're like, no, I'm busy selling real estate, which is great, which is really great because it created a nice stretch for us where the business was making a ton of money. And quite frankly, like it just didn't need much from me and Fred. And that was great, which especially because we both have young children. And things change, right? We all know the real estate market has been in a lull for the last 3 years. It's been a challenge and a fun challenge, to be honest. But with that, like Fred and I had to sort of like re-engage and reinvigorate with the real estate sales business over especially this year. And so we've done that. So things have started to change. Like I've started hiring agents again, and now half the agents are brand new, like been in the business less than a year. And by the way, that's fun too. I love that. But it's a change compared to like, 4 years ago, like no exaggeration. I worked an hour or less on the business per week, and it was just kind of like printing money for us, and things change.
Yeah. Things always change, right? I mean, that's the one constant.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, especially in the market, I think it's pretty interesting, especially the last 3 years. I mean, there's always people, even in markets like now, that are just crushing it. So other than the base, like consistency, but other than that, what do you see people doing now? Because you see a lot of teams, and a lot of teams kind of look to you guys as to connect them with people as well as for advice, like we do. I'll lean on you for those things. So what are you seeing those teams that are doing well now? What's the difference? Why are they crushing it when others aren't?
I think they've made peace with the fact it's hard. Like it's just harder right now than it was 4 years ago, 3 years ago, even to sell a home. Like it's a longer sales cycle. It's harder. And like, so what? Get over it. It's just harder. It's not impossible. There's our market's huge, right? And so in our market this year, there'll be like 68, 69, maybe 70,000 total transactions in our marketplace, which is it's a lot compared to most other markets, but that's really low for Phoenix. That's like
we're pretty close. We'll have a little over 4,000.
Yeah, so we're right there, right? But so even take 4,000 though. Like, how many of that 4,000 do you need to hit your goal? Like, not that many, when you percentage wise. And so it takes more today than it did 3 years ago to close a deal. And so the people I see that are crushing it right now, they've sort of made peace with that. The other thing is they're just maniacal about whatever their standard is, right? So you guys know my buddy Dustin. On his team, the standard is you talk to 20 people a day. And if you don't, like there's just no other conversation for us to have. If you're not doing that, that just tells him you're not putting enough effort into your business. You don't care about it enough to put effort into your business. Like that's his number. And so I see a lot of teams who have something similar to that, if not exactly that. In fact, so many people have just sort of started copying Dustin because it is so damn simple. But there's something, whether it's that or, like my team, like we use the Brivity top 10, the daily top 10 to go through. But they've got something that's easy, understandable for everybody in the organization that like it really doesn't take a genius to figure out. And then they're like actually doing that.
I like that.
Dustin's, that's another connection that you've made for me. So he's actually coaching me right now. I don't know if you knew that. And every week is a breakthrough of just a mental shift and a mental focus change. And when he broke down his 20 connects that he does, it's simple. The way he says it, he doesn't overcomplicate it. And that's what it's pretty interesting because he's like, do you know what my standard is? It's 20 connects. Or I answer 20 connects. And then he's like, well, what is your standard? I'm like, and he's like, how in the hell do you know my standard when you don't even know your standard? and anyway, it was like an eye-opening thing. And he's like, just create something, make it simple, stick with it, and let everybody know. Because he's also told me, he's like, you're not the only one. He's like, everybody else is the same way. They know my standard because I'm vocal, I talk about it, and I push it. And so anyway, one, thank you for that connection. And two, I do love that because I think it's something that's crucial. And that's what Jason and I have put together, and we're excited for this next year. Kevin, what have you found in the shift of the market and the leadership? That's one thing that I've noticed, and I guess that I'm super grateful, and and I look up to you with just great leadership. And we'll sit and talk, and then we'll go eat or something, and then we'll walk into the room, and there will be 30, 40 people just there, so excited that that you showed up to whatever room that is. Talk to me about leadership and how you have became such a just a amazing leader. And don't water it down and try to say that you're not.
No, I just I don't think of myself that way. I don't even love that word, leadership, because I think I think most business owners, when they say the word leadership, what what they're cloaking is, how do I get other people to do shit? And for me, I'm like, if you really wanted to have leadership, or a better word that I would use is influence, like you just become more self-aware. And so to me, leadership, quote unquote, is like more about understanding yourself better and how you're actually showing up. And I think that's important. I think that's the most important. And then the other thing that, I mean, to like the example you just gave of, like, if we walk into a room and I end up saying hi to a lot of people, I think it's just because I've done a good job of like getting to know people. And this is one of those things where I'm not going to take that much credit for, because I think it's who I am naturally. I'm very curious. I like to know about people. I like to know why they do certain things. I'm curious about how they became successful. What are their beliefs? Like, what's their beliefs? What are the things they value? Like, I just kind of like, I want to know those things, very, very naturally. Again, I don't force that. It's something I actually want to know. And it just turns out like that's really great for connecting with people.
Yeah, definitely. We had someone came in to talk to our team a few weeks ago, and he talked about how people's favorite topic is themselves. So if you're naturally asking people about themselves, they will connect with you so much faster, right? So I think that's where it is. I mean, everywhere we go, it's like you truly have. I mean, obviously you may not like that word, or maybe influence. Influencer obviously is a different connotation, but you absolutely do have a lot of influence and have been a leader to so many people in this industry now. And but yeah, I mean, I think one thing that you do have is people do feel like they're connected to you. You talk to them a few times and they feel like, oh man, Kevin's awesome. So in a big room, they feel like they're comfortable talking to you, which is awesome, which is huge. I mean, I think that's the biggest part. They want to not only pick your brain, but they also want to just have that conversation and feel comfortable in that. You have a way to, put people at ease. And I think that shows through in your leadership. But so as far as, so you mentioned you made a shift, of course, a little bit with EXP and more of kind of the recruiting side of it a little bit ago. So, and obviously what I just mentioned is translated to that very well. So you've done a fantastic job at that. But when you see others in that recruit, is it the same thing? Is it just those who are willing to make the calls? Or is there something else that they have that helps them do that?
I think there's when it comes to that, I think it's, I think it all comes down to influence, by the way, like some form of it. And I see people do it different ways. I did it through leaning on my relationships, and what little visibility I had, and trying to give to that. I think other people, and then I would say that I back that up with like focused action, just like I would the way I built my real estate sales business, right? Like, made the phone call, sent the text messages, sent the notes, invited people. I did the things that I thought would help recruit people.
Yeah.
And not everybody does it that way. Like I know other people that they do it differently. And there's a lot of different ways to be successful in real estate. And I think the same is true for recruiting. They probably all follow the same principles, but there's a lot of different methods for going about it. That just happened to be like my method. It's not like the method.
So on this, a full circle. I mean, this is kind of one of those cheesy cliche aha moments for me. One of I would say your superpower is connecting people. And so when you talk about getting to know people, having these conversations, you're always meeting with people. You always are. And so that's where I guess you are, you let the guard down, you get to know these these people. And then that's where I guess you're so good at connecting, is because you listen so well. And then you're like, because when I come to you with an issue and I'm like, hey, Kevin, what's this? You always give me maybe your thought, and you say, this is, this, but hey, you really need to talk to Jason over here, or, you really need to talk to Dustin, or you need to go talk to Matt Check, or whoever it is. And it's just always, and it's not like I never feel pawned off. And I know that that's not ever what you're doing. You're just like, this guy's doing that same thing right now, and you two work on it together. And that's been one of, like, I guess my biggest superpowers. That's what Jason talks about. That's what I tell people is they ask me, like, well, what do you like about EXP? And I couldn't really, as you know, tell them breakdowns of even the brokerage. I'm just like, let me tell you about this, this group that I'm in, that I have all the answers, and they're all a member of this brokerage. And so, I guess my question that comes out of this, so I wanted to tell you that comes full circle, and I appreciate you saying that, because that's something that definitely I think would work for everybody and every single industry, is just to get to know people, to listen, to ask questions, to let them talk about themselves, and so that you have that. But how have you perfected that? How have you worked on that? I know that you said that that's like naturally you're that way, but what is some things that maybe you've worked on to hone that skill, to just really listen, to pay attention, to get that out of?
I think I've gotten better at asking people questions and then peeling back like further when I get like a surface level answer. And I don't know, man. I'm just never shy to, I, like you mentioned, I connected you with Dustin. And the reason I connected you with Dustin is because you were already developing land and Dustin started developing land. And I was like, dude, you need to be here because you need to meet my friend Morgan. Like, he's already developed land. Like, you're in the process of going through that for the first time. Like, if nothing else, come to this event so I can introduce you to my buddy Morgan. You guys could probably help each other. I don't know that I've done anything else to develop that part of it. Like, that's a very natural thing for me. Like, I just do it. The part that I've worked on is like, I've thought about like, well, how could I do that more to like benefit, not necessarily benefit me, but like make somebody see value. Maybe, I don't even know. Gosh, that's a really good question, dude.
It's interesting. I wonder if part of I don't know. I've been watching a lot I read it a long time ago, but the Finding Your Why with Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
Really good book. But I've been watching some of his clips over the last little bit for whatever reason, revisiting that. And I mean, part of your why is truly helping people, I think, and connecting people. And if you enjoy somebody and you enjoy somebody else, it's like, why don't they have a relationship as well? And I think that's awesome, because it's just I think that might be part of what drives you. I don't know. What would you say your why is?
Yeah. By the way, I completely agree with you. Like,
that's a big one.
I have a belief that like everybody desires connection, and like the more people claim that they don't, like the more they actually do deep down. They just might not be acknowledging it. I hear a lot of people, I've got some friends who I love dearly and respect. Like, they'll be like, I don't want to go to this event or that event, like, because I hate small talk. Well, I'm like, so then why not just skip the small talk and actually be interested in the other person that you're talking to?
It's true.
Like, that's just your bullshit excuse.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because I genuinely believe that people want to be connected with other people. Now, not all the time. And I know that all of us have different levels of like that internal battery. Some of us get drained really quickly around a lot of people. I can go a day or two before I start to get drained. And other people are like, they can go a couple hours before they start to get drained and they sort of need to recharge. I respect all of that. But the whole, I I don't do this or I don't do that because I don't like small talk. I'm like, that's such a cop out. Like, I really feel like just be interested in other people, just be like genuinely interested, and you would be surprised at the things that you'll learn and the things that will come out of it.
I can for sure you're one of the most influential people in real estate in life to me, and a lot of it is just the rooms that you put in. And so in 6 years, it is not that long, and I have seen so many people just rise of where they were into something crazy just out of those rooms. And I know it's not all you or it's not all Fred, and you know what I mean, but I think it's a combination of all of it, but just this frenzy of energy that just creates it's just people who just want to get it done, just want to, you know, just to help each other with our goals, you know, from the Matt Checks to Dave Z to, I mean, there's just so many people that, you know, from when I've seen them then and to now, I mean, you've got to be able to count a few dozen. I mean, it's pretty awesome. And what is the secrets of creating those rooms? Like, how do you get to hold such a value to get people there? Do you just start with small rooms? Do you start
small? And then I think because I've like shown interest in people and like built a relationship, there's trust. And so I can get someone to trust me enough to like try it out. And then I'm working like hell to make sure it's valuable to you when you're there. Right. I kind of grew up business wise at Keller Williams Realty, and Gary Keller was my mentor for a long time. And I had these opportunities to go sit with him in a room, sometimes with, 10 other people, sometimes with 100 other people, like 3 to 10 times a year for a decade. And it was awesome. And it was also like highly curated, and I didn't like that part of it. And so it kind of created this desire in me to like create my own room with like less of an agenda. Like the agenda was the people. My entire agenda was connecting people and people like actually helping each other out, because like, I'm not trying to sound like that's all, altruistic or anything. Like, the benefit for me was I knew that people would actually just come to EXP if I did that, if I just provided that kind of value. And so if I just focus on the value of like, if I put Dustin and Morgan in the same room together, and then like I make somebody talk about, developing land, like those two would likely they'd get some value out of the conversation.
right?
Right. Or something along those lines. And so as I put these two together, these rooms, one thing I was really good at, one thing I was like really strict about early on was like, you didn't get in the room unless I approved it. Like, yes, you had to buy a ticket, but like I legitimately was not selling a ticket to anybody that wanted to buy it. I was legitimately inviting people in. And so, because if I knew call it 75% or more of the room, I know that I like know enough about these people to know what they're good at. And therefore I could keep the conversation going and set people up to look really good in front of everybody else, just because I'm aware of like what they're great at. And so, and again, the strategic part of that for me is I knew like a downhill effect of that would be like people would come to EXP. But the immediate impact for those people is like they would make more connections. It maybe create businesses together, do deals together, help each other, learn from each other, stuff like that.
That's awesome.
So we were talking to another guest on the show, and we were, one of the things that we talk about is overcoming hard things. And most of the time, for me, it's all the time, when I see somebody who I think is special or who I think is important in doing big things, they've overcame something, you know? And so Kevin, hopefully not put you on the spot, but I mean, what's some of the hard things, or what's the hardest thing that maybe you've overcame to become who you are and why you are who you are?
First of all, I agree. Like, I don't really know I don't know any successful people that like haven't overcome something, or in a lot of cases, some things in their life. The one that always stands out to me, that I think, where just because of how old I was, and so like where it shaped me, you know, in my life, was as like a 22-year-old. Yeah, I was 22. I lost a significant amount of weight, like close to 200 pounds. And,
Wow.
and so, being overweight my entire life, like I don't ever remember like not being overweight. Right. And then at the age of 22, like, and by the way, the same goes for like pretty much all of my family. And so then like at the age of 22, realize like overcoming that gave me something to sort of like always like anchor back down into, like when something gets hard. Well, it's like, yeah, but you know, I was over 400 pounds. So like I overcame that. Like everything else isn't that hard. So that always sticks out of my mind. And then, you know, just other things like getting started in real estate in 2007, pretty optimal timing, you know, overcoming that and, you know, just that market. And then I remember a couple of years later, you know, we got to a tough spot in our business where we lost some people, and Fred and I had to go back into production, and like we had to challenge ourselves again and overcome that scenario. And we did. And so I think just the way you overcome stuff is like, you actually, first of all, you just don't stop. You just like actually keep going until it works.
Right.
But in order to do that, you actually have to believe that you are going to get there eventually. And so having that belief, even if it's delusional, you know, at times is super important.
That's awesome.
It's crazy. It seems like memory plays in such a big role in those things, right? Like remembering those things of how you got through that. Hey, I got through that. I can get through this. And so many other people take memory the other way, and they say, hey, I struggled here, so I'm going to struggle here again, right? It's like you can take it both ways. And so just spinning that and remembering what got you through versus all the hard part, I think that changes everything. So just as you go through those things, which is pretty cool. So is that, I mean, based on, you know, wanting to connect people, wanting to do it your own way, a little bit different than what you'd been a part of in the past, is that why you started the NLA or Next Level Agents?
Yeah. I mean, you know, that started as just a Facebook group while we were, you know, still at Keller Williams, like just because I wanted a Facebook group, a place to like kind of build a community. Really didn't know what I was going to do with it. And then, you know, that evolved, and because of the way EXP is structured, that gave us an opportunity to like really formalize community building, I guess would be the word. And,
Cool.
and so, you know, that's obviously been shaped and stuff over the last, 7 years for us. And, so yes, I guess is the short answer.
I like it. So now as you go forward, where's your focus? The next 5 years.
That's a good question, Jason. No, you know, like right now, my focus is spent, you know, core business is selling real estate. Like that's still, that's something I'm involved in. It's still something, you know, in fact, I'm more involved today than I was, you know, 3-4 years ago, as I mentioned. Focused on our next level agent community at EXP for sure. And I got small kids, like they're 10 and 12. I'm focused on the next 8 years, like the 8 years that I have them left in, you know, under my roof anyways. And making sure I make the most of that, you know.
That doesn't stop, by the way.
What's that?
That doesn't stop when they move out.
Yeah.
I'm finding that out.
Like right now they take more of my like daily time,
It's true.
which is great. Like I'm happy, happy to do that. And so I feel like I'm in a phase of like, I'm running my businesses now. Not to say that there's not growth involved. There is. I don't see growth being like my number one focus for the foreseeable future. Although growth is always part of my focus. It's just not like my number one priority. Like at one point it was.
Yeah. Growth always has to be there, because if you're not growing, you're shrinking, right?
100%. Yeah.
Personally, emotionally, in every aspect of our life.
Yep.
Kevin Kaufman once told me, no, just kidding. I usually say that and then I make something up. Kevin, what is, so legacy wise, what 10 years is going to go by fast? You're still a young guy, but when you're an old guy, well, I mean, what does that legacy look like? When you're a gazillion years old, when you're 80, 85, what do you want people to remember you by?
I don't know, man. It's this simple. Like I was in a leadership exercise one time and or leadership development seminar, and did an exercise one time where you kind of had to like write that down, or write down your, whatever. They might have used the word the big why or some sort of phrase like that. Mine is like, I just want people to feel that they're better off having known me. That's it. I don't really think of like legacy. I don't think of like, I want this, there should be a real estate statue of me outside the real estate school one day. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think of stuff like that. Like I want my kids to think like, damn, I had a really cool dad, like all that same stuff in my family, of course. But like, when I think of like business legacy or whatever, I just think of like, I want people to feel like they're better off having known me. That's it. Like, it's that simple for me.
That's huge though. That's huge. That'd be pretty amazing. That'd be a bigger legacy than a statue for sure.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. So what's some of the new or the next things that are on the horizon for you that you're focused on, or that you're excited about, or projects that you're looking at?
Just continuing to grow the real estate team, grow our EXP community. Personally, I probably spend way too much time in baseball cards, and continuing to do stuff there, and it just having fun, man. Like I really like, I don't have this like massive like challenge that I'm after right now. Like I'm not trying to get to say like 1,000 homes sold in a year or anything crazy like that. Like I want to make more money next year. I want to make more money this year than I did last year, and the next year I want it to be more than this year. All like, that's all true. But I don't have this like, I gotta sell this many houses, or I gotta recruit this many agents. I don't have that. I'm just always looking to like make my life better, take a lot of vacations, spend a lot of time with my family, hang out with my wife and kids as much as I possibly can, be healthy, have fun.
Love it.
Awesome.
Well, shoot, man. I know that you're a busy guy, and Caleb kicks us out if we're not speeding things up. He's giving me a funny look, but I appreciate you, like really just your time. I appreciate your influence and your example to me. I appreciate just your willingness, I guess, to get to know me and Jason, and just I always tell people that you're about the most patient guy that I know. I was like, anybody who can be as good of a friend is Kevin, and I mean, you and Jason's patience level is all time high. And
what's really funny is I'm the most impatient person Like, like you go to the disc, or remember the AVA?
Yeah.
You guys remember that?
Yeah.
So like I look like I'm a high D or a very like dominant person.
Right.
And I come off that way, but it's not because of dominance, it's because of impatience. I actually I just need to move. I have this internal desire to move fast. no matter what. And I'm like, I don't care if somebody else leads as long as we're going quickly.
Well, thanks for the gift of consistently forgiving me for stressing you out. Cause I bet that has gotta be troublesome.
Dude, it gets me in trouble for sure. I remember telling Fred, like when my wife was pregnant the first time, I was like, man, I already have like no patience for people. I don't know. Like my kid's going to get it all. And like, I feel so bad for the rest of the world because like I'm going to have even less than I have now, which seems impossible.
Well, it's not a bad thing if it's drained on your kids, right?
Yeah, 100%. They get it all. So,
well, thanks again, man. And let's connect soon. And thank you for everything.
Absolutely. My
Thanks,
pleasure.
Kevin.
Thank you
You're
for
awesome.
having me.
Appreciate you.
See you, dude.
Thanks, brother.